Welcome to the Grow My Cleaning Company podcast with your host, Mike Campion. If you are passionate about the cleaning industry, you are in the right place. Love what you hear? Spread the word and tell the cleaning world this is the place to be. Want more? Check out www.growmycleaningcompany.com for free online video trainings, free ebook downloads, free blog posts, and of course, all the podcast episodes. Everything you need to grow your cleaning company is at www.growmycleaningcompany.com. And now, on with the show.
Welcome to the Grow My Cleaning Company podcast, the place for everything you need to know to grow your cleaning company. If you love the show, and I know you do, be a pal, tell a friend, or I just might cry. Today, we are talking with Ed Stapleton from Clicks Geek. Don't worry, we'll make fun of him for that name later, but we can't get to that now. Their team is made up of a high school dropout and an Ivy League graduate. One of them works from home in their underwear most days. I'm going to let you guess which one Ed is. If you want to reach out to Ed and his team, you can get a hold of them at www.growmycleaningcompany.com/Clicks Geek. And you might notice that doesn't go directly to the website. Of course, you can do that, but I twisted Ed's arm. He's going to give us a special, fantastic offer just for Cleaning Nation. So if you aren't interested in that, just Google Clicks Geeks and go directly. If you are interested in a rockstar offer, go to growmycleaningcompany.com/Clicks Geek. That link, of course, will be available on the show notes page. Ed, say hello to Cleaning Nation.
Hello, Cleaning Nation.
All right, I got to tell you, man, I'm ramped up and probably going to take a nap after this, so we got to get your energy from a 6 to about a 24, or I'm going to sound like I'm on cocaine all by myself.
Sounds good. I'm ready to go.
All right, so just a little background. Well, you know what? I'll give a little background on my how you and I know each other, and then I'd love to hear you introduce, and then we'll dive in. So the reason, Ed, you might notice Clicks Geek doesn't sound like a cleaning company owner, which Ed is not to the best of my knowledge, but what he is a big fat rock star in the world of pay-per-click. And we get so many of my customers, my prospects, cleaners that I talk to, I get so many saying they're dying to try it, but they're scared. They've had really good results. They've had really bad results, but everybody's got an opinion. There's so much information going on out there. 80% of it is terrible. I wanted to bring in an actual legitimate expert that you guys can trust and listen to and know that he knows what he's talking about. This is the guy that I use for all of my pay-per-click. Anytime I've got customers that need a pay-per-click guy, this is who we use. So that is how I know him. Ed, I would love for you to introduce yourself and your company to Cleaning Nation. Anything you want to share, we're all ears, my friend.
All right. My name is Ed Stapleton. I am co-founder, co-owner of Clicks Geek. We are a PPC management agency, and basically what that means is we help companies generate leads for their businesses, both locally and regionally and nationally, using pay-per-click. Pay-per-click is Google's ad platform, and those are the ads that you see up on the top and down the sidebar in search results when you Google something. So essentially, we are a lead gen company, and the tool we use is pay-per-click.
All right, so this is something I think I know, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to, I know Cleaning Nation doesn't know. So I know there's lots of different pay-per-clicks. There's Google, which is obviously the 800-pound gorilla on our block. I know Facebook does a ton of I don't know if they have pay-per-click, but a ton of paid advertising. And then you've got your outliers like Bing and Yahoo kind of hanging around. Can you break down a little bit of the difference of A, what you do and don't do, and B, why you would use one or another if you're a cleaning company?
Sure. So like you said, the 800-pound gorilla in the room is definitely Google's pay-per-click platform, which is called AdWords. Next would be the Bing and Yahoo platform. And lastly would be Facebook ad platform. Now, the difference between them is with Google, Bing, and Yahoo, you have an intent behind the search, right? You have people that are actually searching for a solution, and you can present your ad or your business in front of that query. You know, for example, someone searching for janitorial services, your ad could pop up for that. Now, with Facebook, you don't have the search intent. What you have is geographic and demographic information. That's how you target. So you could target, commercial building owners, property managers. You can target them demographically, but you can't target them intent-wise. So it's slightly different. I find both work, but what we really specialize in is Google pay-per-click as well as Bing and Yahoo. Facebook's its own animal, so we really just focus on the 800-pound gorilla in the room, and that is Google.
So what I found, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is Facebook is cheaper. The click isn't going to cost as much, and maybe it's way cheaper, but you get your job's a lot harder. You've got some guy or gal that's going on to find pictures of his grandkids or look at kittens doing ridiculous things, and you got to be like, hey, quit it, stop fooling around and doing this, and come talk to me about, you're cleaning your office, which seems like a hard sell. But if you're on Google and the guy's typing in best office cleaner in, Fresno, and you're an office cleaner in Fresno, you got a pretty good bet that dude's going to be a match. Am I on track?
Yeah, you're another right in the head. So with Facebook, you have what's called interruption marketing. People, like you said, are searching for pictures of cats and looking up old girlfriends online. They're doing the normal Facebook thing, and all of a sudden an ad pops up. What you're going to have with Facebook is you're going to have lower conversion rates on those ads because like I said, you're interrupting them. It may be of interest, but it's not necessarily why they were online to begin with. But with Facebook, or rather with Google, Bing, and Yahoo, what you have is you are answering a question that's going on in their mind. They have a problem. They're looking for a solution. They go to Google. They type in what they're looking for, and your ad can pop up there. So in terms of direct response marketing, meaning you put out an offer and you get a response, Google is a much purer form of that, in that like I said, you're answering a question that's going on in their mind. As with Facebook or Twitter advertising, you're really just interrupting, and you may or may not pique their interest based on what's in the ad copy and the image and a number of other factors. But that's why we really like Google, Bing, and Yahoo so much.
Yeah, and that's why I had you specifically on, because I think Facebook paid advertising is a really powerful tool, but it depends on the business, right? If you're trying to sell a T-shirt, well, they're already kind of in a fun mood, and a $10 or $20 product that's a fun thing might be in line with what they're doing. Or if you're like, hey, here's how to make a million bucks online, they might be interested in that too. It's a little easier switch from, hey, stop doing this kind of fun thing to doing this other kind of fun thing. But if you try and do that's like going 60 miles an hour and putting your car in reverse, going from searching for old girlfriends, like Ed said, to who's cleaning your office building, like especially a property manager. That's work. That's going to be, so I'm not saying Facebook can't work. I just don't know for commercial cleaning, certain, maybe residential cleaning, you can kind of, oh, hey, are you sitting in the middle of a mess? Let's fix that. But for commercial, and again, God bless you if you're out there killing it with Facebook on commercial cleaning, but I don't know that I'd probably tell any of my clients to go that direction for commercial cleaners at least.
Yeah, I would agree. And I would say that when you split up your marketing budget and you look at your pie of what you have in terms of advertising dollars, I would put the Facebook ad dollars in a very small sliver and put a larger focus on pay-per-click, maybe direct mail, maybe speaking at networking events, things like that will help you get in front of people that you know for sure are looking for what it is that you offer. Facebook is kind of a nice to have, whereas the other strategies I just mentioned are really what I take to market to go after, acquiring your business.
All right. So before we talk about the nitty gritty of Google and pay-per-click, can you give me and I'm totally ignorant about this. You and I haven't spoke off air either. So this is actually half for me. I don't know, like Bing and Yahoo, and I know there's probably a dozen other paid search networks, but they're all so tiny. Do you do anything with that? Do you recommend people do anything with that? What's your take there?
Yeah, we do some Bing and Yahoo stuff, but in all honesty, unless you're tapping out your budget, meaning you're spending as much as you possibly can, as much as Google will is able to take from you in terms of amount of people searching for your services within a given area, it really doesn't make sense to take money away from Google and put it towards Bing and Yahoo. In certain circumstances, it may work if the acquisition cost is lower, but for 99% of my clients, we really need to focus on Google, because no one says, hey, I need to find something, let's go Bing something. They say, let's Google something. That's in the vernacular. It is what people do. So, and that's why they're the market leader. And that's really where we focus most of our efforts. Yeah,
I've heard the most popular search on Bing is Google, or how do I get to my Google browser? And I'm being facetious, exactly. But I actually heard that as a fact that's the most popular thing on Bing is, get me the hell out of here. Where's my Google? All right. So that said, you touched on something that's obviously super important, budget. And I know this is going to be totally different for the dude in South Dakota with 20,000 people, within 100 miles of them, and Manhattan, where there's just businesses everywhere. But again, it's not like something like direct mail. You can almost spend an infinite amount. There's some things where you can scale till the cows come home. But Google, there's only, especially, all of us, I shouldn't say all of us, but 95% of the commercial cleaners out there are just working within their geographic area around their office, right? They're not going to go 200 miles down the road. So they're limited to, advertising within 20, 30, 40, whatever miles from their office or their trading area. What's a typical, can they spend hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands? What's the typical amount you can spend if you're like, hey, just give me all of the traffic, obviously, like you said, you're going to cap out because there's only so many people searching. What's the typical budget for a commercial cleaner they should expect to spend on traffic?
That's a great question. What I would say is it depends, and I hate to be super vague, but I'll try to run the spectrum for you. Small town, give a 30, 40 mile radius around it, or a small city or a small county.
So let's call 50,000 people. Let's call 50,000 people or under for the radius, just to make it easy.
Okay. So it may max out, and then this is purely me just speculating. Sure. I won't know for sure until we get inside an account and look, because what Google is it's a live auction, and it's a bidding process, so I won't know for sure. Not everywhere is exactly the same. So what I would say is I like to budget $50 a day, but typically in these small areas, we never hit $50 a day. And the reason I do $50 a day is because that gives us a certain amount of clicks, and it allows me to spread out my clicks throughout the course of the day, and it gives me the maximum coverage within Google, and it makes Google happy.
Now, is that $50 a day times, is that times 30 days a week or 30 days a month, or do you do weekends or holiday? I mean, is there, what do you mean by $50 a day?
We typically just do Monday through Friday. Yeah, so it'd be 20 days a month, so $1,000. But we're not typically going to hit that 1,000. We may hit in the 500 range and 700 range, but it may be 300. But we don't know that until we actually start the campaign. What I would say is just be comfortable with it being 1,000 and be happy when it's lower, or be happy when it's 1,000 if you're getting the leads that are converting to jobs. So it really depends. Now, the other end of the spectrum, you can go into a big city or a big region, and you could be spending $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 per month. It really depends on the volume in the market, the amount of commercial work in the market. It really depends on a lot of different factors. So it's purely speculation at this point until I actually saw the account and saw the live bidding and could give you an answer, but I could give you some good estimates prior to that.
Yeah, so I heard two things. One, if you figure $500 to $1,000, whatever market you're in, you're not at least going to get blown away where it's like, that's not even close. You can't even play. You can play in that game for traffic of $500 to $1,000 a month. Two, find someone who knows what the heck they're doing, so that $500 to $1,000 a month, you can squeeze the most money out of it, because just stuff like, well, there's so much stuff that you do. So is that a fair kind of synopsis?
Yeah. And then what I would say is you got to be very careful on the commercial cleaning side to negative out the home, the residential, the house type keywords, so that you don't get on any of that click volume, because there's typically a lot more volume for residential, house cleaning, maid services, that type of stuff. So for the commercial side, you've got to put those into what's called the negative keyword list, which means whenever, let's say, house is mentioned in the search query, your ads will never appear for that. And what that does is it basically helps preserve your budget and get you in front of people that are searching for what you're actually offering. So if you put cleaning service, if you don't use the negative properly, you could come up for house, you could come up for commercial. It's all about how you set up the account, setting it up properly. But for commercial, I would be very careful about adding stuff to your negative keyword list. And
I would imagine how well you write your ad is going to be a big difference too, right? Because if your ad isn't crystal clear what you do, or let's just go the other way. If your ad is crystal clear what you do in your commercial, janitorial, only contract cleaning, you certainly still want to use the keywords and don't want to come up for a bad search. But if your ad is clear, the homeowner's probably not going to click on it. Whereas if you're unclear, you're going to get wrong clicks, bad clicks, and the people that you do want to click won't. The people you don't want to click will. So how big of a deal is clarity in your ad?
Absolutely. That's with everything. All of your marketing pieces should be very clear. It should be speaking the language, not the industry language, but the language that's going on in your customer's mind. So what's going on in the office manager's mind, the commercial property manager's mind, the building owner's mind? What's the language they're using to describe their problem? And that's the type of stuff that you want to put into your ads. And the closer you can get to that, the more you're going to speak their language, and the higher the likelihood, as long as the cost to action are strong, that'll increase your likelihood of getting a click to your page.
Yeah, and good point. That's really correct. Doesn't matter if you're online, offline, pay-per-click, organic, whatever you're doing. if you're not clear and you don't have a direct call to action and you're not doing direct response where you're actually calling them to do this thing that you can track, it's real hard to make your marketing budget pay.
Absolutely. And then how do you know what's working and what's not working? So that's the thing. It's if you're going to spend money with marketing, you've got to make it in my opinion, a direct response effort. This way, you know, dollar for dollar where your money's being spent, what's working, what's not working. Marketing is a process. It's always testing. It's always fine tuning, and then you figure out what's working, and then you try to scale it up as much as you possibly can, to what the market will bear.
Yeah, that's one of my least favorite things to hear is I get prospect or your customer, anyone I'm working with and trying to help, they say stuff like, I can't afford marketing. I don't have any money for marketing. And that's insane on two levels. One, you don't have money for marketing because you don't have customers, and you don't have customers because you don't market. So at some point, you're going to have to be a business owner and say, hey, this takes investment to grow, investment in myself, investment in my company, investment in my art. It costs money, right? This isn't it's speculative, right? It's not like you just open your doors and people are going to show up. So that part I don't love. And the second part is, I tried that, didn't work. So your direct mail doesn't work. Oh, really? Well, there's, thousands of companies making hundreds of millions of dollars today. But do tell me how direct mail doesn't work. Well, I sent a letter once, to 300 people and nobody called. Okay. So
right.
Who were the people? What did the letter say? What was the offer? Well, I didn't have an offer and the letter was this, and, what was the follow-up process, and where did that follow up in your secret? And it's insane. So the key, I guess I'm trying to bring up is you've got to test. There's no such thing as pay-per-click's the best and works all the time. Nope. If you do it right, you've got a real good shot at making a return on your investment. But that's not to say pay-per-click never works. I tried, it doesn't work. Nope. That's equally irresponsible. So I guess the key is really, like you said, Ed, you've got to test it, you've got to refine it, and it takes an investment of time and money.
Absolutely.
All right,
absolutely.
Cool.
It's yeah. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say I think that's a really good kind of foundation, a marketing foundation, client acquisition foundation that we can now build on going specifically. I don't want to talk general marketing. I know you're very good at that. But since you're an expert in pay-per-click, I really want to get into some of the nitty-gritty of how to do it. And just so you guys know, in the short time that we have, I'm going to try and get Ed to give as much information so you guys can try and do this on your own. This isn't a big sales pitch. But truth be told, you're almost always going to be served if you pay someone to manage your account for you, so that $500 or $1,000 or whatever you're spending per month, you can really wring all the money out of it, and you're getting cheaper clicks, more clicks, the better clicks. So that said, Ed, I'm going to ask you all the stuff, and hopefully you can tell everyone how to do exactly what you do, but take it with a grain of salt. My 2 cents is my money is with Ed. I hired the expert. But that said, break us through if you're gonna jump into an account for a cleaner. How do you start? Give us some best practices.
So first things first would be a conversation that we have with the cleaner. Find out what they're looking to do. Are they looking to grow? Are they looking to have a client a month? Are they looking to be in hyper growth mode? What services do they do? What services don't they do? Really get a good foundation of information of where they're at, where their mindset's at, if they're in acquisition mindset, if they're looking to grow or not, and see if we're a good fit. So let's say they're in growth mode and they want to add a handful of clients per month or more or whatever it may be. What we'll do is, it could go 2 different ways. So let's go with if they have an existing account already, or if they're brand new. Which would you prefer?
Wait, say that again.
Would you prefer me talking about if someone's got an account already, what would they do to make changes, or if someone's brand new?
Oh, perfect. Let's start with a brand new and then work our way to someone that's already got an account that they're either managing themselves or they don't like whoever's managing it for them. So let's start with brand new. They've never done anything.
Okay, so if they're brand new, what I would do is, unfortunately, it's actually it's a bit technical. So what I could probably do, it might make it easier to understand, is send you to a couple blog articles or the Google support links, and it will tell you exactly how to set up an account. It'll tell you how to fund the account. It'll tell you how everything works within AdWords. Just a basic overview. Pay-per-click or Google AdWords platform is pay-per-click, which means you only pay when someone actually clicks on your ads. What you do is you go in, you set what you want your daily budget to be, and you extrapolate that out and say, okay, that's my monthly budget. Say I have $1,000 to spend, and I want to do Monday through Friday. That would equal a $50 a day budget. So I'd set that as my budget. Then you'd go in and you'd create an account, you'd title the account, you'd create a geographic region around the area in which you'd want to serve your ads. Other than that, I'm not sure it would be beneficial if we went too technical, because there's a lot of steps in it that you'd actually need to see my screen. So I think an article or some videos would probably be better at this point.
Okay.
I don't think it would help me just going through and actually listing stuff off without actually showing you.
Well, let's do this. What's one of the biggest mistakes people make when they're trying to set up their own thing? Because I'm guessing you get a lot of people that try to do it on their own, didn't, wasted a bunch of money, and they come to you with their kind of mangled mess of a Google AdWords account. You have to sort it out. What's the biggest thing if you could tell everybody, don't do this, don't bring me this mess, save some steps?
Oh man. Well, here's what we commonly say when we come to a client or to someone that's approached us for help. What we typically do is an account audit. We go into it and we look through past performance, and we say, okay, if this was our account, what would we have done differently? And we go through and we write up immediate recommendations. We go into the campaign settings. We go into the campaign ad groups, the actual ads and the copywriting of the ads, these things that are called ad extensions. We go through the keyword selection, how they're bidding on stuff, check out their negative keyword list. We look at the conversion data. We look to see if there's call tracking in place. I would say one of the biggest issues actually is not having a landing page. So most people unfortunately send their traffic to their homepage of their website, which unfortunately in 99% of the cases is a mistake, because you're giving them the opportunity to click other links on your site and kind of navigate the site too much, and you have what's called leakage. People don't convert necessarily. So when you buy traffic from Google, you want to send that to a one-page website or a page on your website that doesn't have the wait for them to navigate other places on the site. You want them to convert to a lead. You want to put up an offer. You want, whether it be for a consultation or a free ebook download or a webinar or whatever it is that you're offering to the market at that given time. You want to send the traffic at that, because you're buying that traffic. You want the best chance of converting that to a lead. That's kind of, I would say, the number one issue we see is that, because in terms of what you're able to control with Google, it's the ads that you select, or the ads that you write, the keywords that you select, and then also the landing page. Those are some big levers that you can really make leaps and bounds of increases in revenue and in growth if you work in just those three levers, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I like that concept of, especially as a consultant to pay-per-click, it's not just about the pay-per-click. You also have to make sure that where you're sending them is good, right? If you'd send them to a bad, like you said, your webpage isn't super good at converting, you got yourself a problem.
Yep. And one thing I see a lot when I audit janitorial and commercial cleaning service companies is they send people to a homepage, or if they have a landing page that also talks about residential. And that kind of, I find that if I'm a buyer of janitorial cleaning services, I need to know that you're a janitorial cleaning service, not someone that also does that also does residential. You could do residential. I just don't need to hear about it when you're marketing to me. You need to be speaking the language that's going in my head, not in the other prospect's head. It's important to achieve message to market match. And if you're talking about residential and talking about carpet cleaning in homes and all these other different services that you have, it's not going to be as effective if you were talking about all the services that you did within a building or an office or whatever it might be that you offer in the commercial setting. I just find that it's just message to market match is huge.
Okay, so it sounds like, that's a great point. That's another kind of benefit of having a landing page. If you send them to your website, even if it is optimized to convert, which most of yours aren't, sadly, if you're like, hey, we do office, we do commercial, we do medical, we do warehouse, we do whatever, that is so much less powerful than and again, not to say that you can't do all those things, but if you're paying for a click, especially, that's the nice thing, and I don't know how specific you can get, Ed, but if I can say, well, can I get property manager clicks to one web page and business owner clicks to another and restaurant manager owner to another, and each of those pages just say, all you talk about is property managers and their pain and their language and their verbiage and their shortcuts and everything they talk about and think about. And then same thing with a restaurant manager. Can you do that? Can we be that specific with our pay-per-clicks and say, we'll send restaurant managers to here, gym managers to here, property managers to here, or is that crazy talk?
Unfortunately, with Click and Google, that would be very tough. You could potentially do that within Facebook, and you could definitely do that with direct mail. So make your call to action sending someone towards a specific page on your website or a specific subdomain or a specific website, whatever it may be. You could do that there. But within Google, it'd be too tough to get that demographic information. We really do it based on the search intent, not on the. It's harder to get that demographic information about who they actually are that's searching. You know it just based on the actual search query itself. So that's a little tough. But
so if you had something like best commercial cleaner for property managers, you could do that. But I'm guessing the traffic for that specific of a search is going to be pretty low.
Yeah, that would be tiny.
Okay.
You hit that. You'd want to put something like that in your keyword selections, but the likelihood of it getting hit are very low. You're more likely to get hit on keywords like janitorial service, janitorial services, janitorial, commercial cleaning services, commercial cleaning service, commercial cleaning company, office cleaning, office cleaners, things like that. Things that speak on a broader level to what it is that you do.
So it seems like the key distinction is residential and commercial. Even if you do both, if you're paying to get maid service or residential home cleaning, that should definitely go to a landing page that just talks about that. And the same goes for if you're trying to go for commercial, a separate landing page so you're not confusing or bothering your commercial guy with your residential stuff and vice versa.
Exactly. Can you imagine the housewife or the husband that's sitting at home and is looking for a maid to come clean their house, and they land on a page that's talking about commercial cleaning? We're going to come clean your doctor's office once a week. It's totally not going to fly, and it's not going to work. And it's just, the thought of maybe an industrial looking team coming in to clean this house. It's not fitting the dialogue that's going on in their head. So it kind of throws things off. So to be more effective, you'd want to split it down to 2 landing pages, one commercial, one residential, and drive traffic separately.
Yeah, and it's just, I think, even that feeling, even if they're not thinking through like, oh, I don't want commercial guys in my house, it's just that, oh, I'm not in the right place, right? They're like, oh, I
Right.
misclicked. Something's wrong. So I don't know that I even think that through, but there's just that immediate, oh, this isn't for me. Whereas you want the opposite where, like in a perfect world, are you a single mother of 2 who's sick of cleaning up the same mess for your toddlers day in, day out? Well, crap, if you're a single mother of 2 and you read that message, there's no question you're in the right place. But if you're a business executive who's got, 10,000 square feet of Class A office space and you read that, not interested in the least. So obviously that's an extreme, but I always have that as the goal. And then whatever tool you're using, you be a specific market to message match as you possibly can.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, cool. Before we run to the lightning round, is there any big, fat, amazing question that I forgot to ask you that you want to dump some more genius onto Cleaning Nation before we go lightning round?
It'd be this. It'd be for the commercial cleaning side. On the low end of the spectrum, you may have a contract that's $300 or $500 a month, and on the high end, it may be $3,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 per month. And what I would say is look at pay-per-click as a viable option to get those leads, to get in front of those the contracts and the bidding process, because your upfront acquisition costs typically make sense with pay-per-click. And with marketing, it's all about spending money to acquire business. And another thing is, if you're not in front of these customers that are looking for this stuff in your market, your competitor is. So I would just say, run through the numbers, make sure it makes sense financially for you. Make sure you have a good sales process in place. If you're listening to Mike, I'm sure you do, because he talks about sales quite a bit on the blog and on the podcast. But just run through the numbers, make sure they make sense, and that's it. I would just say pay-per-click is good. I love pay-per-click.
Yeah, I got to say, that's a big kind of piece that I want to make sure people don't miss. You made a really good point quickly. You don't have to be on pay-per-click. That's fine, but your competitors probably are going to be. So it's tough, right? Because even if you want to spend the money, it's like, well, your competitors are going to be there. So if you're not even in that conversation for the people that go to Google to search for things, and that's a lot of people. So it's tough, right? It's a prickly pear. It's like, well, I don't really want to spend that kind of money. I get that. But if you don't, somebody else is, and it's hard to pick up market share when you've got that kind of a handicap going on.
It's funny, Mike. I hear this quite frequently, not just in this industry, but in a lot of B2B industries. I'll hear a prospect say to me, my industry or my market doesn't actually do their searching like that. That's not how they find people to bid their contracts. They don't do it that way.
That's crazy.
And what I say to them is, I pull up the keyword tool, the Google free keyword tool that basically tells me who's searching for what in a given market. And I say to them, listen, unfortunately, that may be correct for some of the accounts, but that's not correct for everything, because I can tell you 30 people searched for this term last month, 100 searched for this term, 75 searched for that term. And when I give the number, I say, you got to remember that each single person is a potential contractor, a potential deal on the other end of that. It's not just a number. That's revenue in the market that's going to go somewhere. But if you're not there, it's not going to go to you.
Yeah, it's tough, because I would totally agree. It's so close to the truth. The truth is, hey, a lot of people in my business they don't search that online. Okay, be that as it may. But when they say, no, that's just not how my business works, that's crazy talk. And just like you said, Google will tell you, here's how many searches are going on. So if all the combined commercial cleaning services, contract cleaning service, building maintenance, janitorial, blah, 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 all those combined searches just in your area, not nationwide, just in your trading area, is say 850 a month. And you're just like, nah, no thanks. That's nutty to me, because again, I don't know who's going to be a better customer other than someone that you've talked to, or a referral or something like that. But from a marketing standpoint, I can't think of a better customer than somebody that's typed into Google cleaning services, Phoenix, Arizona. That's who's typing that? Your grandmother's not typing that randomly, right? Only the people that are looking for cleaning service in Phoenix, Arizona are going to type that. So there's 850 or hundreds of those going on a month, and you choose not to participate. Again, not to say that that's going to crush your business or cripple you, but it's certainly going to, try and make you go ahead, one hand tied behind your back. And this business is hard enough as it is, but you start handicapping yourself, saying, well, I'm not going to talk to my people this way or that way or the other way, but my competitors are. Good luck to you, man. That's a hard way to go.
Great.
All right, cool. So one last thing. You'd mentioned something that I loved, and now I'm going to try and talk you into something fantastic live on air, so no pressure. You said about the audit, and I thought that sounded like a tremendous value in terms of, well, I don't know how much stuff's going to spend, and I don't, what does it look for me? And I'm in with, Schenectady, New York. What's that look like? Because there's only so much we can do kind of one to many with you and I talking to the masses. I would love it if the people that are listening that kind of get the vibe that we're laying down say, well, gosh, I'm scared because I want to go forward, but I have no idea what to do, and I don't want to spend money for an expensive audit, and I don't know, right? Is there any possible way you would be kind enough, or if I'm not being crazy, to offer Cleaning Nation if they, one of those audits, is that super expensive? Can we get a discount? Can we get a freebie maybe? What's shaking with that, my friend?
So typically when we do audits, they're people that are spending money within AdWords already. So yeah, if you have people in Cleaning Nation that are spending money in AdWords, and they know deep down that it should be working better, or they felt or thought it should be doing better, there's a good chance that they're right and it should be doing better. So what we do in the audit is go through everything we would do if it was our account and we owned it and it was our commercial cleaning business. These are all the steps we would take to grow the account. So yeah, we'd be happy to give your audience a free audit as long as they're spending money in AdWords and they're looking to grow. And yeah, we'd be happy to do that.
Okay, cool. And then without being too greedy, what about the folks that don't have anything, but they want to get started and they're like, I don't have anything for you to audit, but the podcast got me knowing I need to do it, but I don't know what the next step is. What can we do for them?
How about we put together some sort of like strategy offer, a strategy session where we just hop on the line and talk about if pay-per-click's going to be a good fit. We'll take a look at the market and we'll see if there's going to be enough search volume. We'll make sure there's enough budget in place, and we can kind of figure out a strategy with pay-per-click, to see if it'll work for them or not. That's the best thing I could do for someone that's not currently advertising and that's interested in it.
All right, that sounds awesome. Let me repeat back so I make sure that I'm not offering something that you're not offering. What I hear you saying is if you've got a AdWords account now and you're in that camp that says, I tried AdWords, it doesn't work, call Ed, and he can tell you, yeah, your market's too small. You'll do a review like it was your customer, and tell him here's why it's not working, and here's how to fix it, or you can't fix it. Maybe AdWords is not for you. Is that correct on those folks' side?
Yep, that's correct.
Cool. And if you're the other guy, it's like, well, this sounds awesome. I don't even know what I don't know. I have nothing. You got me fired up. I want to go, but I still would like someone to tell me how it works in my life. And I've got specific questions that Mike was, too dumb to ask. They can call you and you'll sit down with them for a half hour, whatever strategy session is, and walk them through the process to figure out whether that makes sense for them.
Yeah. I mean, I'll know within the first, 5 or 10 minutes looking in the Google keyword tool to see if there's going to be enough search volume in their market to have it make sense for them to invest in a campaign or not. And, I can offer some advice on that front. And if it's a good fit, we can move forward, or you can move forward on your own, or whatever it is. But I'm all about giving back and helping people grow their businesses. So I'm here to help.
Perfect. And I knew you were going to do something at the beginning. I wasn't sure what it was. That sounds awesome. So we will, since we don't have it totally set up this second, we will make sure if you just go to growmycleaningcompany.com/Clicks Geek, you'll get Ed's entire show notes page. And Ed will have you guys build some sort of page where if we click through, they'll know that they get that, that complimentary assessment or audit or strategy session. Thank you for that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm missing. Oh, I just want to tell you guys, again, it's not like Ed's paying me or I'm getting any money for this. I can only tell you my experience with Ed. I talked to him a couple months ago about what we do. Hey, how can I does pay-per-click make sense for helping owners of cleaning companies nationwide? And he didn't do the typical, well, yeah, sure, just give me a bunch of money. He was very much like, I'm not sure, let's test it. He went through a bunch of stuff, and Ed was awesome. And by no means was he like, it's not like he's a hammer and everything's a nail. I believe and I trust from my experience, Ed will tell you, if you're not a fit, hey, this isn't a fit, and save you some time and money. And if it is a fit, he can help you do it in such a way that you really get a return on your investment. So again, you're not wasting time and money. So that is why I invited Ed on. There's no financial deal where I get anything if you guys sign up. I just think Ed's awesome and want what's best for you. So that's where we are on that. I think that's enough. Do you have any final comments before we move on to lightning round, Ed?
Oh, I'm intrigued about this lightning round. I'm a little nervous.
As well you should be. If you fail, we're all going to mock you. We're going to blow it up on Twitter. You'll have to probably move to a different country. So no pressure. Let's jump in. Question 1. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Marketing is a process, not an event, and a test.
Oh, that's a writer downer, Cleaner Nation. Marketing is a process, not an event. That is, man, I spent 20 minutes trying to say that. So thank you. Marketing is a process, not an event. What's the biggest mistake you've ever made in the pay-per-click business, or seen somebody make in the pay-per-click business? Maybe we can save Cleaning Nation from making that same mistake.
I'd say sending traffic to a homepage. I'd say keyword selection. I'd say bidding. There's a dozen or so optimizations that most people don't make that we consider to be blocking and tackling basics, but that we just don't see. Listen, man, AdWords is a complicated platform, and Google is there to take your money at every single turn. So you've got to do everything within your power to run a smooth campaign. And unfortunately, almost all the businesses that we audit aren't really running at full steam with all the optimizations that Google's created for you. And that's typically a problem.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, last question. What's one idea owners of cleaning companies can put into practice today to improve their lives or business? Pay-per-click, not pay-per-click, business, personal, just any idea they can implement today before they go to bed that'll help their lives or their business.
I'd say pick up the phone. Call all your old prospects that are sitting. If you have a list of old bids that didn't go through, follow up on them, see where they're at in the bidding process. Pick up the phone. The business happens on the phone or in person, but more often than not, deals are closed on the phone. And I would say most people fear getting on the phone, and I think that's a mistake because commerce happens through deals on the phone. And that, I mean, when I say on the phone, also it could be in person, but honestly, every deal we do is typically on the phone. So I would say pick up the phone.
Yeah, people that are trying to do a lot of busy work and feel like they've accomplished something but don't really want to work, they email all day, day in, day out. What about this? What about that? What about that? And yeah, you pick up the phone. that can save 3 days and 17 emails back and forth in a 4.5 minute conversation. So couldn't agree more, Ed. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for showing your passion and your desire to help owners of cleaning companies. I appreciate you. Cleaning Nation appreciates you. Again, if you want to check out Ed's show notes page and discover everything you need to know to grow your cleaning company, you can do so at www.growmycleaningcompany.com. Leave your questions, your comments, your rude remarks. I will see you there.
Congratulations! You are now 16% smarter. Still can't get enough cleaning goodness? Go to www.growmycleaningcompany.com for more of the good stuff. Ever want to be rich and famous? Owners of cleaning companies, as well as industry experts, can apply to be featured on the show by emailing our producer Natalie at support@growmycleaningcompany.com. Until then, don't miss out on all the latest cleaning industry lovin' at www.growmycleaningcompany.com. Check it out now.